I want to talk about how to deal with disappointment. We all go through these moments in life where the thing that we're doing doesn't meet the expectations that we actually had in the past, whether it's in a relationship or doing something at work or something that you are personally doing, like a hobby, for example. And we all have these moments where we're just disappointed with the outcome that we actually get. The world doesn't often pan out the way that we imagine or we expected it to be. And we have to deal with this disappointment. I want to talk about that today. I think that that is an important thing. Um, I've had a lot of rejections. I'm an academic researcher and I keep getting rejections. And I have to learn to deal with this disappointment. And first of all, I'm going to tell you this straight up front is I don't deal with it very well, but I am learning to deal with it. And I think that that is the most important thing with disappointment is to know that it is only one stepping stone that you have to deal with. There's many things that you go through, and it is just one moment in a sea of many things that happen in your life. Now, it's very easy to get fixated on this one thing where you were disappointed with and ignore all of the wonderful things that are going on in your life. I do that all the time. I think about how, and I reflect on myself, how that particular thing failed, and then I think of myself as a failure. I think I am not doing good in all these other areas, and I take it out on other people around me in the sense that I'm learning to sort of almost shut down with it. And I've become so disillusioned with everything. Um, a lot of this happens all of the time, and I'm becoming more and more of a quote unquote realist with it. Which essentially just means that, I don't have, I'm losing sort of hope with the whole process of what I go through. But how do I deal with this? What do I actually do? And I think the only thing that I've learned, and by the way, if you're going through real things, I would actually go talk to somebody or, talk to a legitimate professional. They do have, medications and things like that that do help out. But, and by the way, I haven't taken any of those things, but they are there if you need them. So for me, the biggest thing of dealing with disappointment is in coping with disappointment is learning how to disassociate, learning how to separate myself and who I am and everything that it represents from that one particular thing where I have disappointment and that is generating those negative emotions. Learning how to disassociate in as many ways as I possibly can, because I can't fix, I can't affect, I can't change those outcomes because they've already happened. And it's the only thing that I can do is learn how to get back up and do it again and go into different areas. Now, it is somewhat insane, right? To repeatedly deal with the same rejections day in and day out. And I used to strongly believe that you can learn and improve over time, and you can, but there's a lot more to many things in life. It's a much more complicated process than a simple you just get better or that thing just gets better and then, you benefit from that thing. The world is complicated. Everybody else is getting better. Nobody knows what better is. There is a lot of betters and a lot of aspects of betters. And so we don't even know. We can't put our finger on that particular thing. So the only thing that I can do is hope. And I heard this quote years ago is you just hope that one person is going to make a mistake and then like the thing that you're actually doing. Because that's the attitude that you have to get into, is realize that nobody's going to like the thing that you're doing. And you have to do it for the sake of you doing it yourself, and just for the sheer pleasure of going through the actions of doing it without any of the outcomes. And that's where I always get tripped up, is I always think that the thing that I'm working on is supposed to have an outcome. It's supposed to work in a certain way, but most times it doesn't. And so you have to learn to just do things for pleasure, learn to actually just live life for the simple fact of living life. This idea that is deeply embedded in much of how we operate in the world around us, that we do things, we perform an action, and we get an outcome from that. That is an imaginary thing. It's an imaginary theory that somebody has dreamt up to try to mimic what is going on in the world. It doesn't mean, by the way, it's called cybernetics. It doesn't mean that that is a true thing. It doesn't mean that that is actually what actually happens. And maybe that is the case that happens, but how you deal with that yourself as you repeatedly go through rejection after rejection, and disappointment, and all of those negative emotions. For me, I have to disassociate and learn to just do things for the sake of the fact that I'm doing them without any particular outcome. And, I think eventually, what I'm going to do is drift in different directions. But I think that is normal, to do those things. If you go into a different direction, you do different things, that is normal. But the only way that you could do that is if you can continuously move and push forward. So, how do you deal with just not feeling good when the expectation of a thing doesn't work out the way that you thought it was, and you have disappointment? Honestly, it's learning how to disassociate, getting the practice of smiling through things, getting the practice of doing things for the sake of just doing it without a particular outcome. Learning how to just be yourself, regardless of what is going on, is an important skill that I'm working on. Maybe you need to work on it as well. I don't think I can change those outcomes, and I don't think I know what the magic outcome, the magic way to change these things. But I do know that I can disassociate, and I can say I'm good for who I am, and that's all that matters. That is the most important thing. Learning to say, no matter what happens, I'm good. If you need some sort of outside person or entity, right? There's a lot of good religious stuff that's available that helps you to get through these moments, allows you to separate yourself and just be good with who you are. There's lots of good therapy sessions that are out there and things like that, but ultimately it's just practicing just being you, regardless of what the world throws at you. The world's not fair. The world's not a simplistic thing where there's a one-to-one conversion between you doing something and you getting an action. But the only thing that you could do is get up and learn how to do it again, disassociate, laugh, do all of the things that allow you to get back up and do it again. All right, take care and have a wonderful day.